All right, what's up, everybody? Hope you guys are staying safe out there as always. Welcome back to the channel. It's been a little bit since I posted. I have been traveling a lot, and I've been just head down building new indicators for the ribbons suite. So if you guys have been following the channel here, we released the Ref and ribbons recently, and I'm actually going to be partnering with Crown on this release and a suite release. It will also be available on my Patreon, and it will be a bit better deal on my Patreon for those who follow that and want to get it there. But for those who follow Crown and want to get it through his store, it will also be there. But yeah, all of these indicators will be released in both. I might have one exclusive one. I'll probably have one exclusive one under my Patreon, just for users who are followers that have been supporting this channel for a while. But yeah, it's been a while since I've even got to make a video, so a lot to catch up on. The market is pulling back here. We've seen some losses in some strategies. I've been trading the hour strategy, the 30-minute strategy. Those have been taking some losses. I actually scaled in a bit more when the 1 hour strategy took some losses a couple weeks ago, back in this area, and it made some nice gains, and now it's pulling back again. So we'll see where it goes. But currently, price is at about 111. The ribbons indicator is calling for price to go to 103. I actually just noticed this. I updated the table and the way that it looks for the targets, so that it doesn't necessarily call, because a lot of times price might not meet the line exactly. It'll a lot of times meet this dotted midline. So I need to update this indicator a little bit more. This is the beta version that I just run as I'm doing updates. All of these releases, or these updates are not released yet. But what it will look like here is you're going to have target methods. You're going to have several different methods, whether it snaps to bands, weighted average, Fibonacci levels, all of these things. The interesting thing is, not the interesting thing. The thing I need to fix is it's calling, or it's still the target box is still between the bands, and like when it goes to right now, it's calling for 103. If you're using weighted average, it's calling for 103K area, which is down here, but the box is up there. So something I need to fix. It's interesting. The Fibonacci levels are actually calling for a bit higher at about 108K. So this would be still around here. It will be real interesting to see if it bounces there. I kind of don't know that it will, and I'll tell you why in just 1 second. But I'm going to go over this, the rest of the updates that will be coming soon. Maybe some of these will be released earlier than others, but I also have some arrows that are based on slope that kind of can help call tops and bottoms. So you can see over here, it called this bottom right there. It called it not necessarily a top, I guess, but just where price consolidated right here. It called where price consolidated. So it didn't get the exact top here, but it did call for, it was hitting extremes, and it's like, hey, watch for, and it actually kind of did call a top here. We got the second one, had a nice 27% move to the downside since that second arrow populated right there. And then it also called, it's not necessarily on the exact bar. It had a couple more bars to the upside here, but prices were hitting extremes, and the indicator was at least calling for, it's basically an early warning sign. So all of this stuff will be coming, as well as this new oscillator. So it's called the ribbon momentum oscillator. This is this beautiful, I'm super pumped about and proud about how this indicator looks and functions. It's just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Right now it is calling for some downside as well, but I'm going to run through a real quick general idea of how this indicator works. So this line you can see that's blue and purple, that's the oscillator. It's based on the ribbons and where price interacts with the ribbons bands, the confluence bands. And when it hits extremes, and then it has kind of momentum to the up and the downside. So if price is headed to the downside, the ribbons will a lot of times top, and you'll start seeing some pulls to the downside. And you can see up here, we had the nice top here. We had not necessarily a top here, but again, some sideways. The run ended. But when the ribbon starts to get to the extreme zone, you can really start counting on the end of a run and some downside. And it did nicely get the last two moves. So from the top to the bottom here, we had, the bottom was about here. We had an 18% move, and really on a wick, it was about a 27% move. So called that move nicely. And then here, it called the top here from about 98K down to right here at 77K. So that was a nice 20% move. And again, it called this top up here since, when was this? About 120K. And right now it's in a downward trajectory. And I do have a beautiful table here as well to go with this indicator. It is a bit more extreme. So going off the indicator itself, it's calling for 96K, which is going to be on the bottom side of the ribbon right here. So I would not be surprised if we got at least down to 100K area, as much as 90, what is that calling, 96K, yeah, 95, 96K down here at the bottom of the ribbons. And we can see that on the weekly, the last major downside, as oftentimes happens on the ribbons, we bounced off of this dotted midline. That is, in bull markets, that's the generally the support area that it goes to. If it's really bullish, or calling like not necessarily really bullish, but not a major downside move, it might bounce off of the top side of this band. But a lot of times, you can see right here, it bounced off the top side, but then it turned around and is having some more downside price. So again, yeah, that's around 102K area. If I was calling it real safe, I would say 100K area, based on all of these indicators. I'll get into more of this oscillating indicator in the near future, but we're going to look at a couple other time frames and then going to look at some stocks, because I'm actually using these indicators right now to find places to buy and sell stocks for my long-term portfolio. But currently here on our daily time frame, again, we got a daily time frame target down to about 109K. I guess this is actually calling for about 110K, so not much further on a daily time frame. Might see a bounce. However, this oscillator is calling for 109K as well. Another thing, I don't remember if I mentioned it earlier, but we got our bar count, so generally how long the duration of these moves are. Again, this is an average, and some will be more and some will be less. So we're just looking at averages. This indicator is not magic. It won't know the exact duration of every move, but it does kind of look at some of the historical data and moves based on where the indicator was, all of these things, and calls those. So about 6 more bars till the oscillator might turn to the upside on the daily. However, on the weekly, I forgot to talk about that. That has 3 bars left, and you can see that it's quite a bit away from crossing right here. So 3 more bars puts us out in October 13th. So that's, it's a little ways away where we might see the bottom of the move. But yeah, if by October 13th we see around 100K area to maybe 95, 96K area, that would be a really great bottom. And I definitely will be scaling in. Actually, probably scaling in around 108K area, 106, somewhere in there, just a little bit. And then I'll be, quite a bit more, about 100K to 95K. So that is based on this indicator here. Again, watch for these updates coming soon. If you've not gotten a chance to get a hold of this ribbon indicator, grab it, because the oscillator will be included with it. And if you have purchased it, the price will not go up for you because you'll have already purchased it. But the price will go up for this indicator as I slowly add more. So the good part of getting this indicator early is you get it locked in at the lower price, but it's going to go up as I add more to the suite. Okay. Enough on that. Let's go to some other. I'm going to simplify this a little bit, and going to take some of these off, and we're going to go to some stocks here. I'm going to actually go to my kind of portfolio here and look at a few stocks. I was looking at these earlier today, just kind of trying to get some areas of interest and find when to buy and sell. So the great thing about this indicator is, let's actually jump to a weekly here. It'll probably be a bit better. We can see that we got where our price will close to the downside or to the upside, and we got our target zone. So right now, this is one of my iShares, one of my holdings right here, and I currently was like, all right, where am I gonna sell here? Am I gonna buy more? Just kind of based on the chart. So I'll use the ribbons indicator to look at that. And this does not have a whole lot of history, but for this specific asset, I decided to sell some because we're getting into really extreme zones right here. Again, it's not a very not a lot of history, but you can see we're hitting the upper band of this the indicator, the ribbons indicator, and we're getting into some extreme zones here. It says we might have 4 bars left. It does say it might get up to about 45. Let's see, what is that? 45.08. So I guess we're basically past it right now. So yeah, as far as the price move, it's actually past the price move. Oh yeah, right here you can see the downward side target. Hopefully this table is big enough, but you can see the down. It's actually a percent past the expected move from this cross to the upside. So I'll just jump through a few others. All right, let's look at Tesla on a couple different time frames. I'm gonna actually jump to the weekly first, and then we'll go to the monthly. So on the weekly, the oscillator is calling for upside move. It's saying we might have in the week, might have in the weekly on the weekly, might have about 2 weeks left, and 476 is the target. So kind of up here in about the midpoint of this upper boundary, which I wouldn't be surprised because that is around this prior all-time high wick, and seeing some pullback around there would not surprise me at all. But anything else to gain from this? I think that's about right. I mean, it says it'll cross to the downside if this bar closes 387 this week, or next week closes under 405. So that's pretty far away from price action. So we're not close to the oscillator turning down clearly, but if we see some major pullbacks, that's something to watch out for. Let's look at the monthly time frame here. The monthly is actually kind of wild. The oscillator is calling for a 172% move to the upside for Tesla. So that is far past the upper bound of this ribbon. So I would be maybe surprised to see, but it says 8 bars left. So 8 months from now is going to be quite a ways out. That's next year. When is that? That's going to be May of next year. So by May of next year, could it go 172%? That's, I guess it's not way outside of reality, but it definitely is pushing it a bit. Anything else we've got 8 bars. The separation is just saying, how far apart do the oscillator and the moving average generally get. So, and that's helpful because if you know that, you can find the peak a lot more often. So, for example, right here, the peak was it called the top. The peak called the top, but it's hard to know where the peak is. So, based off of that, this was 11 points. So, if we would have gone 8 points to the upside, that would have been around this area in here. So this is just kind of saying, if you exceed 8.3 point separation between the oscillator and the moving average, you're getting close to extremes, and you might be looking for some pullbacks. Maybe the move's not over, but at least some pullbacks. So again, this is super useful just to find areas of maybe taking some profit, or when it's reaching extreme. And this wick up here, the oscillator would have been way higher versus the moving average. So that would have absolutely called a nice top back in here if you would have been watching this oscillator. Right, last thing that we'll look at before we go is the QQQ. We can look at it on weekly and monthly as well. Again, because these are all my long-term holdings. On the weekly, it's actually very close to closing to the downside. If we close this week under 600 or next week under 604, it will cross to the downside. And again, this is a price projection, so it depends on what happens between this week and next week. This will change, but currently, right now, that is the target. However, it does have a score, or a combined score, meaning a price target of 12% to the upside, around 675. So that's towards the higher boundary here. That's very interesting because that's a pretty massive move. However, it's saying that's going to happen over the next 9 bars if we continue to the upside. So that's a big if. Right now, the oscillator is very close to crossing down. And if it crosses down, all of this is nullified. However, if we do see some a bit more stronger price action this next week, and we don't close below 604 next week, we could expect to sorry y'all, I'm tired of staying up late working on these. Anyway, we can expect over the next 9 bars, which will be out in December. When would that be actually? November, end of November. We can expect to see, a 12% move to the upside. That feels pretty massive to me. I don't know that I would be that extreme in that short of a time period. But I mean, we could see, 9 bars. Looking at the past, how when we've had some moves to the upside, we go out 9 bars and see what the price. 15%. So it's moved 15% there over 9 bars. I won't look at extremes, just kind of 8, 9. This one was about 15. Yeah, so we've seen 15% move to the upside. So I guess that's not out of the realm of possibility over 9 bars. If price again continues to kind of act like it has been recently. So yeah, that's something interesting. Okay, there, and then on the monthly, we'll look at this real fast. This one's calling for a massive move over the next 5 months. So 5 months kind of puts us out, I believe, early or mid next year, midsummer or mid spring of next year. 5 bars would be, about February. So I guess not even spring. I don't even know what month it is. But it's calling for about a 20% move. So that's up around 739, which is kind of massive. But it is looking strong, at least for the markets at large. So according to this indicator, again, as long as we don't cross below 558, which is quite a bit of ways from price action, that would be about a 558 would be about an 8% move to the 7% move to the downside, a little bit less than that actually. Yeah, 6.5% move to the downside. So we got a little bit of cushion, but it does go next week. It goes up quite a bit to 575. So that gets quite a bit closer to where price action is now. So we'll kind of continue to watch this this indicator, and it's been super cool to see in beta testing. First of all, just strategies I can make with this based on pure just crosses. I'll say go long when it crosses the upside, go short when it crosses to the downside, and both of those in many markets are profitable. However, you can using the extreme reads or using some other metrics, you can find better exits. So this indicator is coming out here probably in the next month or so. And hope you guys are staying safe as always. I will see you guys hopefully sooner than the last video. Hopefully in the next few days I can make another video and we can dive into some strategies and all that stuff. So, all right, I'll see y'all next time.